This is the Risky Roadz podcast. Today on the pod, we discuss Seton Hall and our big win against them, what Missouri State will look like on Monday, and if James Palmer should be the primary focal point of our offense. We are still number one in the Sagarin college basketball rankings, and congratulations to the football team on beating Michigan State. Hey guys, we're back. Obviously, the big thing that happened this week was the Seton Hall game, so we have a lot to break down on that today. It's a lot easier to actually have things to be concerned about and be really happy about when the game isn't won by 70 points. So, Jake, what do you think about that game?
You can even tell based from our predictions from the last podcast that we didn't expect to win by as much as we did, so I'm super happy.
Yeah.
And super excited now for the season even more.
Yeah, that team was kind of the first test. We had to see how good we really were, and I think we were better than we even expected. Mm-hmm. I feel like those first two games become actually kind of really impressive now that we know that we can beat some of those other teams. And that's kind of a trend, not just they really suck. Did you have a certain favorite play from that game?
Well, definitely the Roby dunk. That was good to see, a good pick and roll, and then it was a pick and roll, wasn't it?
Yeah, with Watson.
Yeah, with Watson, just lobbed it up there. That was super cool.
That was probably obviously my favorite play too. But it seemed like whenever we started going on a run, well, in the first half they took a timeout every time, and then they kind of shut us down and came back. But eventually we got it going after the crazy foul calls. But there wasn't really a big moment where we felt like we were really doing well until the very end of the game. So how do you think our defense performed in that game, and how good really is it?
I think it holds up to what we saw from the first two games. Obviously, they scored more points, but it's just a better team. I guess we also knew they were going to be a bad three-point shooting team. And we kept them the shooting bad from three.
Yeah, they definitely did not shoot well from three.
Yeah.
We're right now second in the nation at holding teams, which obviously includes those first two games. But our opponents are averaging 43 points per game.
Yeah.
On defense, and we're averaging 91 points per game on offense. So, doing pretty well there. I think the defense for sure, just even when they were getting shots, they were definitely getting tough shots. And they were oftentimes drives into the lane or a pickup off a offensive rebound or something. And they never were wide open. They never really got driving lanes that they were just able to get an easy shot on.
Yeah, I don't think we didn't give up, especially compared to the years past, but just in general, we gave up very few wide open shots or wide open layups.
Yeah, and they were always who was it? One of their big guys, 23, was driving into the lane, making some really tough shots and stuff. Yeah. And 13 obviously was their big scorer. He had 25 plus in that game. So when you're holding one guy to making all those shots and he has to shoot a ton of times to get there, you're playing pretty good defense. And so what do you think of the offense in this game?
We obviously scored a lot and we played really well, but I think we could have done better I think we used Palmer a little too much. I don't know if it's necessarily using him or if he's just doing it and coaches aren't telling him to stop or coaches aren't making an effort to run the offense through other people. But I'm just worried when we face even better opponents, and especially getting in the conference where they're scouting more, they're going to be able to just double, triple team him and just pack the paint when he drives, because he struggles to actually like kicking out, making a pass. He seems to just go straight in the hole and always shoot a layup. So
yeah, but I mean, he had 29 points. I mean, that's a pretty good offensive game. He shot. That's not great. Shot 18 free throws in that game, which kind of brings up his true shooting percentage and stuff. I mean, I thought he had an amazing game.
I mean, he had a good game, but it was because, well, the first half he started 0 for 7, and then they had that really bad call on Roby later in the game, and that got the crowd fired up, and then basically made the refs give us every single call, and since Palmer just drives it, and that's when he got to the foul. Like, how many times did he get to the foul line in the second half?
Well, he
probably at least
overall shot 18 free throws. Yeah, but I mean, that's like the good part of it. Yeah, I mean, also he didn't, like, some people think that they were just calling a bunch of makeup calls, and that's not really what happened. They were calling that foul, not that
they were
this
calling
disagrees.
on both sides.
Yeah, they were calling that foul all game on both sides of the ball, where if you drove into the lane, you were getting the call, and Palmer just...
So I think it's good that he was aware of that, but I don't think he's going to... I mean, they're not going to be making those calls for either team, like, especially in conference play.
Yeah, he did just take advantage of it. But I think overall, I mean, Palmer has been kind of running through our offense. He's averaging 21 points per game, which is basically 5 points higher than anybody on the team, Glenn Watson being second. And obviously a lot of that was last game and the big game that we had. So I would say that, I mean, he should just, like, he's been doing really well, and I don't want him to stop and worry about other people on the team.
Well, I think he can still score close to that amount. I mean, I think he'll score less once we start playing better teams in general, but also, like, he can just score, but score more efficiently. Especially if he adds like a passing threat, if you run a pick and roll with him and Roby, like we kind of talked about last time, I think that can draw the defense off him and even make it easier for him to score if he just has a dual threat of being able to pass also.
Yeah, a little bit. But I mean, like, Roby wasn't even in the game most of that time. He kind of had to take over and keep it because Roby just was like fouling or getting stupid calls called on him. So I
think that's kind of part of it. That's a one-time thing. He's been averaging more minutes obviously than he played this game, so
yeah. So would you say if Roby's out of the game, he should kind of be taking over or still be deferring to other guys, or not deferring, but
I think it's always just good to look to other people, like, for better open shots. I mean, Glenn obviously played super well this game, and he was being able to create. I mean, every single person, especially in the starting five, can create their own shots, and it's just obviously he can score and like get to the line or whatever and score a bunch. But if up against better teams with better defense that are scouting us, they're just gonna, if he's not able to make the pass, or like if other people aren't getting those looks, it's gonna just make it harder for the team to score in general.
Well, yeah, maybe that'll happen in the future, but I mean, for now, I think he should just keep going and try to be scoring every time he has the ball, which maybe he can even take the ball up sometimes.
Well, I'm fine with him taking the ball up sometimes, but I mean, you look when we had Teran Petaway his first year, it was kind of like a James Palmer situation where he was commanding the ball and the offense and just scoring like the most of the team and not necessarily even having the best like efficiency. But then the next year, like, he really dropped off in efficiency even more because teams knew like he was our only player that we were going to every time. And I don't want that to happen to Palmer because then it just shuts down the whole offense.
Yeah, I mean, the other players kind of didn't progress either, like Siobhan and Walter Pitchford, who
well, it's hard to progress
stopped.
When one guy's taking all the shots every single time.
Yeah, but, I mean, I don't know. You can still be better. I mean, so let's talk a little bit about Glenn. I mean, I think the biggest difference about this team from last year so far, the most encouraging thing that we've seen is Glenn's ability to start the offense. I mean, that's a guy who you didn't know, was he going to be like a 5 points per game player, or was he going to be a star? And so far, he's been awesome.
Yeah, I mean, his pull-up jump shot's definitely back, like that mid-range. We talked about how Tim had said he was wanting to go from just like layups and open threes, or threes, not necessarily wide open, but like that kind of philosophy. But I think Glenn's the one guy that I'm okay with shooting those mid-range jump shots, because that's kind of where he's best at, especially because he can drive and finish at the hoop, but he's smaller and like he can get blocked a lot easier than say like Palmer or Roby or Copeland or something.
Yeah,
so I think that just one guy being like shooting that mid-range just adds another level that they have to defend.
Yeah, I think what I talked about last time with you being able to come around the screen instead of going straight off of it and then having to get a really quick release, we saw that they ran a play for Thomas Allen, which I do like. So there are some things in the NBA that happen all the time. When you see J.J. Redick get a shot, he doesn't get a shot just by being open in the corner. The majority of the time. It's going to be, he has to run around 2-3 screens to get a super quick pull-up shot. And that's just really difficult to do. We saw it with Thomas Allen, and he did miss, and it was a super difficult shot. But I like that we're at least going to some of those systems where we're looking to get guys threes and not necessarily just the star players specializing. And we're getting at Thomas Allen, who specializes in the three and using that player to his advantage.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Glenn's more of an off-the-dribble kind of guy when he shoots from mid-range.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I think even when he shoots most of his threes, I'd say that 40 to 50% of his three-point shots are off the dribble, which could be good or bad. But definitely for the mid-range, he rarely shoots like off the catch. But most people don't shoot off the catch from mid-range anyways, unless it's a set play.
Yeah. I guess centers sometimes do, but
yeah.
He's obviously not a center. He's even come on from three. Let's see. So what is he? He's shooting 67% from three. Oh, he's 2 for 3. Well, that's not as huge.
Well, that was just last
that's
game.
Free throws and 3-pointers. Yeah, no, this is. Maybe that is.
That's just last game.
Okay, so he is actually 9 for 15 on the season, so 60%.
That's actually still really good.
Yeah, so that's on 5 attempts per game, which is pretty high, right?
Yeah, that's pretty high.
Yeah.
Especially for somebody that's not like considered like he's not a shooting guard or 3-point specialist. He's our point guard, so.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of destroys my argument, but I mean, Palmer is 3 for 17.
Yeah, he's been terrible from 3,
but he's been getting a lot of free throws. His true shooting percentage is not too bad.
Well, how many free throws has he shot total, and how many did he shoot last game? Because the refs called every single thing.
Total, James Palmer has shot 37 free throws, and last game he shot 18. But also, he probably didn't even play that much in those last 2 games. So he has been getting quite a few free throws.
That's true, I guess.
So another guy that has been shooting a few mid-range shots is Isaac Copeland. How have you seen him so far this season and in that last game? How did he do?
I feel like he's been kind of average, maybe a little below like what we hoped him to be. He's not really hurting the team, but he hasn't been like an elite scoring threat, I feel like.
I thought he's actually been pretty good. He's averaging 13 points per game, 5.7 rebounds. Let's see what he did last game. He had 10 rebounds last game. Man, these stats are weird. 18 points. So, I mean, that's a pretty good game from him.
That's actually pretty true. Yeah, I guess this last game was better.
He
been
shot
solid, I guess.
He just didn't shoot a lot, which is great if you still score a lot of points. He only shot 6 times. He was 4 for 6 from 2 and 2 for 5 from 3. So I guess he shot 11 times. But, yeah, I mean, 4 for 4 on free throws, that's pretty impressive,
that's
actually.
Good. Mm-hmm. I mean, Palmer's been struggling from free throw, I think, more than anybody, which is kind of unsettling, especially since he's getting to the line so much. I mean, he's not been bad, but...
Yeah, he definitely missed a few of those. It was 13 for 18 in that last game. What do you think about Thomas Allen?
I mean, he's been doing well. I don't know. I feel like Nana's almost been better in a way. than Thomas.
I don't know. I feel like Nana